Welcome back, Reamers!
Hello, everyone. Oh. Hello. Hello? Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. I just want to start off again by welcoming you all to the Reamer Club Centennial celebration. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to everyone who made this possible, including our sponsors, the Pran Board, active members, especially Ava, who you already heard from, and a special thanks to everyone who couldn't be here tonight physically, but is still watching online. Hi, Mom and Dad. Hi, Mom and Dad, sorry. As you already heard, my name is Amelia Brost, and I have the honor to serve as president this fall. I pledged the fall of my freshman year, 2020, at a time when breaking into the social scene at Purdue in a normal way wasn't really possible. Luckily, I attended a call out on a whim, and I found a club that has the same passion and love for Purdue that I have always held close. Throughout my time in the club, I have seen it evolve and grow. We have become more aware of our impact on campus and the surrounding community. As a result, we have done some pretty amazing projects. For example, as many of you probably saw last year, the Extra was struggling and in need of a few repairs, but she was essentially totally rebuilt by club members and some professionals from the inside out. Driving it now is a complete 180 to how it was before. This club constantly impresses me with how innovative and resilient we are. That may seem like a given since we're here celebrating 100 years, but our club has truly evolved from the idea of being the spirit of Purdue into something so much more. We are a family through and through. I'm sure many of you, like myself, have seen people here today you haven't seen in a long time. You just pick back up like it was nothing. I know I'm grateful to see so many familiar faces, but I'm also excited to have conversations with people I've never met. I would encourage all the actives in particular to try to talk to as many alumni as possible. This is such a unique and wonderful opportunity we have not only to hear stories of how things were in the past, but to give them the opportunity to see how the club is right now in the present. To our alumni, I want to thank you all and I want you all to know how much myself and the rest of the active membership look up to you. Without our past and without the foundation you guys have laid, we wouldn't be here today, and I thank you immensely. Jumping back to the present, I would like to give you guys a window into how the club is right now. We have 49 members and 7 pledges. We are 53% female, and our exec board is 5/8 women. Yeah. It's been really cool, especially for me, to see a club that started off as male only become a place for women to gain leadership skills and feel empowered like I do right now. Our club also has a lot of geographic diversity. Although 59% of us are from Indiana, we have actives that come from 15 other states, as far as the California coast to the shores of the Atlantic. We also have actives that don't really have a hometown, such as myself, who moved around their whole lives due to being military kids. Each of us provide a unique perspective when it comes to tackling the interesting challenges we sometimes face. Our membership is academically diverse as well, spanning 9 different colleges and dozens of different majors. There's always someone who can help you out with a homework problem or studying for a test. Because remember, without grades, we are nothing to ourselves, the University of Purdue Reamer Club. Before I go, I want to give everyone a second to remember how proud they should be of themselves and the club as a whole. We have helped build Purdue far beyond the red brick buildings people see walking around. To rephrase what is said at Tap Out, spirit and tradition are what turn a place that gives out diplomas into a university. The members of this organization are the definition of true Boilermaker spirit and tradition. That's why I'm confident that 100 years from now, we'll be just as proud as we are about the work we've done since 1923. Hail Purdue, thank you all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again so much for coming back this weekend to celebrate the history and the spirit of the Purdue Reamer Club. My name is Kimberly Wetzler. I pledged in the spring of 2022, and I am serving as historian this semester. I'm honored to be serving in this position during our Centennial year and excited to share in Reamer traditions with all of you this weekend. For 100 years, we have been dedicated to upholding the traditions of Purdue. From our beginnings, we've been involved in every aspect of school spirit and tradition on campus: sports games, senior chords, the Boilermaker specials, and so much more. We've done all these things since 1923, and we continue to do them today in 2023. We continue to gather by the Lion's Fountain to share our songs and cheers. We continue to maintain and operate our trains as the school's mascots. We continue to spread the spirit of Purdue. And with loyal hearts, we play our parts to give the utmost support to our fighting Boilermakers. Recently, we have worked on a couple projects relating to our school's history. After cleaning out our old office, we were able to digitize over 800 slide photos so that they are accessible to all Reamers in our Smug Mug gallery. Looking back through these photos, we gained a huge insight into how the Reamers have adapted to Purdue's ever-changing campus. We are also currently working towards a renovation of the old pump. This school year, the Purdue Grounds Department will be rebuilding the historic landmark and helping us restore its original green and yellow colors. And it's not just the Reamer Club that cherishes Purdue traditions like these. All students, families, and staff have been enjoying Free Ride Friday since the 90s. And just this week, one of my professors expressed that hearing and seeing us sing at the Lions Fountain has been a part of his almost daily life for more than 2 decades. The work and dedication put forward by the Purdue Reamer Club over the past 100 years does not go unnoticed. The Reamer Club has persisted through thick and thin, through world wars, pandemics, and any challenge that comes our way because of our adaptability and commitment. While the club has taken many different shapes and sizes, the persistent pursuit of community, tradition, and spirit has never changed. The core values of being a Reamer have remained, as shown by every single wonderful individual in this ballroom in front of me tonight. There have been times when the club has struggled to make a pledge class, but just 2 semesters ago, we had over 60 prospective students, proving that we still have a strong presence on campus, a presence we hope to keep over the next 100 years. We would not be here without the work of Reamers who came before us, and I want to express our gratitude to every single person in this room for recording and preserving Purdue history. Although many of these traditions have changed, we promise to do our best to preserve their truest nature and teach our new members so that these memories of Purdue may never fade. Thank you. Over the summer, we recorded and released the Alumni Interview Series. These videos highlight alumni memories and the changes in our club over the decades. If you have not watched the full series yet, we encourage you to find it on YouTube or by scanning the QR code on your tables. Please turn your attentions to the screen behind me or to the sides to watch a special excerpt from the series.
Held on Monday nights at 7 p.m.
Monday nights, 7 p.m.
On Monday nights, 7 o'clock.
Monday nights at 7 p.m.
Monday night at 7 p.m.
Monday night, 7 Monday night at 7 p.m.
Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Monday night at 7 p.m.
Every Monday night at 7 p.m.
On Monday nights at 7 p.m.
Meeting is Monday night at 7 o'clock.
Pledges, although I did hear skitas.
Pledges.
Guitar.
Pledges.
Indicious. Pledges.
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 Skitters.
Family.
Family.
Special.
Invaluable.
Great memory.
Family.
Family.
Happiness.
Life-changing.
Lifelong friends.
Spirit.
Home. Special.
Dedication.
Family.
Loyalty.
Excellent. Excited.
Excite.
Proud.
Excited. Proud.
Excitement.
Anticipation.
Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Much needed.
Bright future.
Bright.
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 Long.
Forever.
Anticipation.
Promising.
Necessary.
Hello, everyone. My name is Holly Golightly. I pledged in the spring of 2022, and I'm the pledge coordinator this semester, or Pledge Mom. Hi, guys. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for coming out tonight and thanking everyone involved for putting on this event. And I'd like to thank you, Amelia and Kimmy, for talking about the past and present of the club. Now we look to the future. I'm sure the pledging program looks very different today than what it did when many of you here were pledging. Many things have changed throughout the years, and although I love hearing about past pledging experiences, I can't say I would trade my own for anything. The people I met during that semester have changed my life. I won't get too sappy, but I can say that they all mean the world to me, and I will always hold our time together in a special place in my heart. So, regardless of the details that change from semester to semester, I think the biggest thing we gain from pledging, and this club in general, is the community. Of course, everything preparing you for being a proper Reamer is very important. It allows us to keep the club running for 100 years and do great in Purdue trivia. I won a shirt once. But this club is its people. They will keep you coming back even 100 years later. What I've always liked about the pledging program is that it was never made to be something you can do alone. By design, it gives you people to rely on, people you can trust to get you through everything. Every Reamer here knows somebody from this club that they've relied on and trusted and loved. If I started listing my own, we'd be here all night. These things have never changed in the pledging program. Even when first getting the position, my co-pledge Mason and I were talking about the impact the program had on us and how we wanted to pay that forward to the next class. We hope to give to them the same sense of community that we gained and the same deep connections that we made. After a fun and busy semester, they'll be ready to keep the Reamer Club going, whether it be in the form of taking an exec position, piloting the trains, or just being a friend of the other members. The next pledge class and all the other ones in the future are the future of this club. No pressure to you guys. But I know they will make it a better place for the next pledge class simply by being who they are. And so the cycle begins again. I'm sure in 10, 20, even 100 years from now, the club will look very different from today. But I know that the community it creates won't leave. I can't wait to see how the club changes with the next pledge class and all that will come after them. To wrap this all up, this club is its people, and the pledges are the next to lead this club. They, like any new generation, are the future of this club and this community as we all once were. So I'd like to make a toast. Reamers, friends, and family, please raise your glasses to the next 100 years.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Logan Marshall. I pledged in spring of 2020. Yeah, I hear him back there. I graduated in the spring of 2022 with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering technology, and I am currently the co-leader of the Purdue Reamer Alumni Network. I am very proud to be up here representing our incredible board and everything that we've done this past year. For those who don't know, the Purdue Reamer Club was founded in the fall of 2022, less than a year ago, with the help of Kristen Lyons and Rebecca Toole. We are one of 11 affinity networks at Purdue for Life, and I can say that we are just so excited about having this and events like this. If you had told me 2 years ago that there would be this many people in this room for this celebration, I would have thought you were crazy, but it's turned out to be a huge success, so thank you all for being here. I do want to take a moment to recognize the Pran board for all the incredible work, energy, and support that they have poured into developing not only our board in the past year, but also this event. Our board meets every other Tuesday via Zoom for over an hour, well, a planned hour, but it always goes over, and to talk about future events, brainstorm how we can develop our board, its purpose, its course of action, and how we can better serve our alumni. It has been my pleasure to lead this group along with Jimmy Rio and stand up here to lead these people and consider them to be my friends. When I call your name, could you please stand and be recognized and continue standing until all names have been called? My fellow co-leader and also birthday boy, Jimmy Rio. Steve Baranek, Treasurer Secretary. Megan Hausman, Co-Events Chair. Dan Johnson's Co-Events Chair. Bruce Croissant, Event Support. Jason Rice, Event Support. And believe it or not, our other birthday boy, Mike Hoffman. So this is really just a big birthday party for Jimmy and Mike, so, just disguise as Centennial. You all may be seated, thank you. I also want to recognize some other leaders who helped make tonight's event possible. Could Stephanie Bonebreak and Maria Wiffle please stand? They are both, go ahead, thank you. They are both the director and the assistant director of the Affinity Networks at the Purdue for Life Foundation. They have been so instrumental in planning this event and doing all kinds of work. I mean, I was driving Stephanie all around town on yesterday, just buying stuff, and she had the credit cards, so she was our ticket. But they've been putting up with a lot of our eagerness and ambition, and I really appreciate that. They've also had to put up a lot of 2 a.m. emails, so thank you both for understanding. You can be seated. Also from the Purdue for Life Foundation is the special events staff. They've been an incredible help putting this event together, polishing it, and making sure it's top-notch, from the invitations to the post-event emails and photos you will receive later next week. So thank you, Anna, Emily, and Charlotte. And the next bit of gratitude I wanted to give is a little biased. I do work there part-time, but the Hall of Music staff, they have been an excellent help at making this event possible and make it as top-notch as possible. So thank you, and shout out to Tom Harmison for being the best event manager. Yeah. And absolutely, last but not least, Ava, could you please stand again? I know we saw her earlier, but I want to give her another round of applause for being such a great, courageous leader within the club and helping get this event to where it is today. So thank you. And see, not only did she put up with my 2 a.m. emails, I had her phone number, so I was like, did you get my email? 2 a.m., so. I want to take a selfish moment and talk about what I've learned about being a part of this board and being a COVID pledge and what this means to me today. I had nothing close to a normal Reamer pledging experience. I can only remember meeting alumni a handful of times on a few crews, and we never really got to know our alumni. Like I said earlier, if you would have told me 2 years ago, I would have not known that an event like this was even possible or that anyone would care. And so when this board was announced in the fall of 2022, I saw a sign-up list of who was going to be, if you wanted to be on the board and be a part of it, and I was like, oh, sure, I'd love to do this. And I came to the first call out, and there was just dozens of alumni, and I was like, this is incredible. And so I was excited to become the co-leader with Jimmy and work so hard to make this event happen and learn so much from our board about the stories, what things were like, and how an event like this would really bring everyone together. And I look forward to what comes after this. Well, things have certainly changed in the past 100 years. We also have shared so many similar experiences, from crews to initiation to iBrunch, but things have also changed. So it's really cool to get to know everybody and see those differences. What you really want to know is what you can look forward to in the future as a Reamer alumni. Starting in 2024, PRAN will be hosting 4 to 5 events per year, as well as hosting virtual quarterly board meetings that are open to everybody, and we look for your input and what you would like to do. We hope to do 2 to 3 events in person and 1 to 2 events virtually to make sure everyone who is anywhere can be involved. One of our board members, Sherry, she is from Alaska, and she's still great involved, and so we're glad to have her here. But we want to make sure everyone, no matter where they're at, can still be involved as a Reamer alumni. We're planning events such as a spring cookout, a virtual adult beverage tastings, tailgates, lion sings, and maybe even a group vacation. We want to stay involved. We want you to stay involved. If you have not been receiving emails in the past year, just please use the QR codes, go to the Centennial website, and learn how you can get your emails fixed through the Purdue for Life Foundation. Again, thank you again for coming. I know you've heard that a lot, but it truly does mean a lot to all of us who helped plan this, to see this room so full. This would not be possible without each and every one of you. We are all truly the spirit of Purdue, for it's always fair weather.
My name is Jimmy Rio. I know many of you in this audience. Hey, there's one. Paid help, not family or friends, don't worry. So I'm up here. I pledged in spring 2000. Logan, when were you born? Spring 2000. There we go. We like that. We like to. That's always our 1-2 punch when we are introduced to other people. So what we're going to be doing tonight is I was asked to lead a panel of people, and I asked why they wanted me to lead this. I thought maybe it might have been my knowledge, my great speaking skills, my sense of humor. We took a vote. It's because it's the one role that talks the least as the panel host. So you are all very lucky tonight that you will not be hearing my voice much after this. There we go. There we go. No, again, paid help. So that being said, we're going to have a panel. I'm going to introduce 4 people. These 4 people, many of you know, they represent not only different decades with the Purdue Reamer Club, but also different experiences. Some unique, some not so unique, and there's always some great road trip stories with the Boilermaker Special. So with that being said, I'd like to invite up to the stage Roy Johnson, Sherry Arrington, Mike Hoffman, and Rebecca Toole. Come on up, guys. You guys please sit. There we are. Try and project. There we are. Thank you guys. So thank you again for coming. Really appreciate you guys being here. This represents probably for most of us once in a lifetime opportunity to speak of your experience and celebrate this great time of not only being a Boilermaker but being a proud Purdue Reamer. So what I want to do is I want to just kind of go down the line, basic questions, introduce yourself, when you pledged, and you know what your major and what you do for a living.
I'm Rebecca Toole. I pledged in the spring of 2016. What were the questions? I'm originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm just going to make something up. I majored in industrial management, and I now work at the Purdue for Life Foundation. I'm the director of project management for the marketing communications team. Was that everything?
That's great. You did a good job.
And you're also a club advisor.
I am also a club advisor. Thank you, Roy.
It's the hardest job of all.
I'm Roy Johnson. I pledged in the fall of 1958. Yeah. I was an engineering major, active in the band program. You're all aware, well, most of you are probably aware that I eventually ended up serving as the announcer for the All-American Marching Band. It was a 43-year stint. And I'm now retired and happily living in Westminster Village, a senior living community on the north side of West Lafayette.
Great. Thanks, Roy. Sherry.
I'm Sherry Wardlow Arrington. I never pledged the Reamer Club. I was a member of the auxiliary, and then we had one pledge class after that. That was the total length of time we existed. My first degree was in political science. My second degree here at Purdue was in family and consumer science. The auxiliary began in the fall of 1972. I currently am retired. I spent most of my life as a mom and part of it as a high school and junior high school teacher, which explains my insanity. Sorry.
Mike.
I'm Mike Hoffman, the School of Science, College of Science now. Atmospheric Sciences. I pledged in the spring of 1979, and yes, my table's right over there. And I had a career basically of TV meteorology, so 28 years up in South Bend in Notre Dame country. But if any of you, I've met a lot of people here tonight that are Reamers that I didn't know, but they know me from television up in northern Indiana. And they know that I kept that Purdue spirit up there on Channel 16 all the time. And my wife and I just recently retired here to West Lafayette. We built our retirement home, and we love being here on campus. There is just so much going on here.
So, Mike, how's the weather looking for the game tomorrow? There's an app for that. It's okay. We're good.
Well, that is how I get my weather most of the time now. I don't. You know, I told Mike Shandrick, who's the equipment manager for Purdue today, that I'm a little worried about this cold front coming in quicker and bringing showers, but I'm hoping it's not till after the game.
I had to ask. He's a weatherman.
And of course, the weatherman always has to not be specific about it. So,
one thing that we all share in common here in this room is going through the pledgeship process of initiation night and different processes. Without giving away big secrets, and please keep it PG, please tell us about your pledge experience when you started with the club.
So I pledged in the spring, so spring pledge classes are special. We started off with, I think, 9 of us. We ended up with 8. Somebody in the club who was active at the time described it as the most fun you never want to have again. And I think that's a great way to put it. I became really close with my pledge family. I don't know, I don't think anything too crazy happened. I don't know, I'm best friends with my pledge siblings still. They're all at that table. I-night we had our I-night at the farm. We were lucky enough to be able to do that. Had the typical fire. Yeah, I feel like I had a normal pledging experience. I mean, what is normal, but.
Roy, how about you with your experience with the club?
When I joined the club, you had to be at least a first semester junior to be considered for membership. Most of us were active in other organizations before we got to our junior year. And the policy in the club at that time was that you had to have a major activity outside of the club in order to be considered for membership. So my pledge class had 3 of us from the marching band program, the captain of the tennis team, the president of the Purdue Auto Club, the president of Cary Quadrangle, and numerous other students who were very active in all areas of the campus. So one of the things that we appreciated was the ability for the club to network around the campus through its members who were still maintaining their active status in the other clubs as well as Reamer Club. We did not have nearly the number of traditions to learn.
A few added over the years, huh?
It amazes me every semester. We have, 42 actives right now. And 2 weeks ago, they put up all the traditions that the pledges had to learn for the semester. And every one of those 42 members had a tradition that they would reference with the pledge class in their weekly lineups. Absolutely amazing.
And for those of you who don't know, Roy still attends the regular business meetings on Monday nights. I'm sure there's generations here with Roy attending, so that is great to see that you still attend the meetings, so appreciate that. Now, Sherry, you had mentioned it earlier about being part of the Reamer Auxiliary. Probably a little bit different experience getting started with the club versus other people. Would you like to tell us about your experience with that?
Okay, as a member, a charter member of the auxiliary, I believe there were 13 of us, and we did not have any kind of pledging program. We didn't learn songs, we didn't learn pledges, we didn't have to do anything, at the weekly meeting in front of the actives and get booed and all that. The only thing we actually did that was, say, traditional that the men in the club did was that we had a board that was signed by all of our other members and was signed by all the actives, alums, and so on campus. But my board, you can see it's back on the memory table. My board is a train shape instead of the R. And so those 13 of us who started the auxiliary had trains, and we have one pledge class that I think had about 6 girls in it. So there should be less than 20 of those trains in existence. And so we had trains instead of our boards, but we had to do exactly the same thing. And that was really the only thing we did. We got pots, sort of like the guys did, except mine's gold. The girls had gold instead of black. And we collected the buttons and all that. But we weren't forced to learn anything, which was really good.
Yeah, one of our first meetings when we started the Pran group, we were doing Zoom meetings since we're around the nation, Sherry being in Alaska. And we all kind of just geeked out when we were said, okay, show us your R boards, and she holds up a train. We're like, what is that? And so that was a real highlight to see, literally a piece of history being held in your hand. So, and again, if those who haven't seen it, it's actually on display in the back room. So thank you. Mike.
So my first memory is being rudely awakened in the middle of the night by knocks on the door. And then being blindfolded, thinking I was out in the middle of Carroll County or something like that. And I was probably on campus here, but they drove us around making us think we were way out in the middle of nowhere. But I was a high school athlete and not nearly good enough to play at Purdue. So this was my way. This was my way. I wanted this because this was my way of keeping the spirit of Purdue and cheering on the Boilermakers. And so this was something that I loved. And of course, like everybody else has said, you get close to your class, and eventually you're leading the club.
Yep.
It happens pretty fast, all of a sudden. And I do remember one of the things, I grew up not liking public speaking at all.
And you became a weatherman, correct, on TV. Just want to make sure guys keeping score here.
TV's easier than a bunch of people out there. So for some of us, for you don't worry about it, but for some of us, it's a little bit hard. And I had to give awards right here on this very stage to some of the athletes for the academic awards for football and basketball. And I just remember being petrified up here. But those are the things, when you're in college like this, those are the things that you grow with. And it helped me immensely as I went through my life, because in my job, I did have to do a lot of public speaking. So that was a help.
And I know the word tradition was mentioned a few times on this panel so far. So obviously we know as pledges and actives, we learn our different traditions. I just kind of want to go down the line and see, what was one of your favorite traditions you taught the pledges, you just were really passionate about when you were in the club. Rebecca?
My favorite tradition is senior chords. I think it's really special, especially because Reamers are one of the only student orgs that actually make chords anymore. And I don't really consider myself an artistic person, but my chords are like my most prized possession. I had so much fun making them, the painstaking hours, trying to get them ready for a football crew. And it's really exciting to see when everybody brought them out on display for tap out or a game, getting to see everybody's how they drew it, or if they painted it, or if they colored it in with some like markers, or how everybody's was, if anybody was going to be brave enough to wash them when they got wet. You know, if you painted stuff on the butt, you couldn't really sit down very well. Mine are very stiff. So that is my favorite, and just kind of seeing everybody's artistic skills, even for people who are not artistic.
Roy, you mentioned some of the traditions. Will you give us one of your favorite ones?
Well, let me follow up here. I still have my senior chords.
Really? Wow.
And
now here's the real question, Roy. Do they still fit?
they've shrunk.
Okay.
We have a tradition in our household of having the pledge class out for dessert every semester, and I always dig my senior chords out of the back of the closet and let them see what we did. But my favorite tradition, Purdue tradition, is one brick higher. I think that so personifies what makes this university so great, what makes the Reamer Club so great in everything that they do. They're always striving to do better than they did last semester or last year, and I think it's that attention to spirit and continuing improvement that makes the club so special to me.
That's great. Thank you. That's awesome. Sherry?
You know, I have to say I don't have a favorite tradition, because I think partly because we didn't learn them and kind of having them
a little bit
ingrained.
different experience, yeah.
But I will say, I thought it was really cool that senior chords came back.
Yeah.
Because when I was here, we didn't have senior chords. And it's funny that you said that, because I was very disappointed, because my high school was kind of modeled like Purdue, And we had senior cords, which I still have, and yes, they fit. Well, actually, they're a little big on me now, but.
Someone's a bragger.
Yes, that's right. But I was very disappointed that that didn't continue when I was here, so I thought that was really cool it came back. But I think that's one of the things that we missed out was not learning traditions and learning the history of them, like why one brick higher. I think that I missed out on it being so meaningful to me.
Mike?
I have a love-hate relationship with the Lions. Not enjoying public speaking. I really hated singing in front of people that were walking by. But at the same time, I loved it. It was, I mean, I believe it was Kimmy said something about one of her professors said that was a daily event, at least on the days where the Reamers were singing, that he enjoyed. And it is a way of showing the spirit of Purdue. And so in a way, I love that. I also loved taking the Boilermaker Special to bowl games. I was one of the lucky ones who was here for the Jim Everett, Mark Herman era. Jim Everett was good too, but he was later. But the Mark Herman era, we went to 3 bowl games, and that was the first time the Big Ten allowed anybody but the champion to go to the Rose Bowl, and so Purdue went to 3 different bowl games, and we were 3-0 during our years. Yes, and so that was pretty awesome. But it was a big task to get an older Boilermaker Special, BMS 3, to Houston and Atlanta and Memphis, Tennessee.
And speaking of bowl games, I know I kind of want to dive into some unique memories in your experience in the club. Rebecca, when you and I had talked a few weeks ago, you had mentioned that you had some great memories of bowl games, and I was lucky enough to be here during Joe Tiller era, so that was a great era for, yeah. So if you're in the Reamer Club during that era, you got a free vacation every holiday season. It was a really, really good time to be in the club. But Rebecca, you had some similar experiences. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go to 2 bowl games, Foster Farms Bowl in 2017 and Music City Bowl the first time in 2018. Agreed. Foster Farms Bowl was definitely a highlight. It was Jeff Brom's first season, first couple years on campus with Daryl Hazel were not great. So we had a great football season, hadn't gone to a bowl game in several years, so we went all out, trailered the BMS out there, took a crew of 24 all the way to the West Coast. Everybody flew in on Christmas Day, and we were able to offer rides in downtown San Francisco, which was awesome. I was a pilot when I was in the club, and I got to drive Jeff Brom around in the train in downtown San Francisco, which was awesome. Got to do a lot of fun things. Nobody had to sleep on the train because there were toxic fumes. It was a whole thing. But everybody got to sleep in a bed. And then the next year, and we won. That was great. Music City Bowl in Nashville, similar experience. Nobody had to drive. Nobody had to sleep on the train. It had a nice garage to sleep in every night. We were at a bougie hotel with the team. Got to do a lot of fun things. Less fun game itself. But one thing that was very cool about that game is the All-American Marching Band got to do their pregame performance, and the crew of Reamers that was there got to help with flags like we typically do at Ross Aid, so that was awesome.
That's awesome. So what we're going to do now is just kind of bounce around with questions based on conversation. Speaking of road trips, Sherry, I think you have a unique experience at Notre Dame. You want to tell us about your trip to Notre Dame?
So I believe I was a senior in 1974. Purdue was a couple years post winning. We sucked. And Notre Dame had been national champs the year before. So we went to South Bend, 35-point underdog, and we had requested to go. Notre Dame had provided us with 4 tickets for the, quote, players bench. And when the tickets arrived, the back of them said, I quote, "No dogs or females allowed on the field." So my my later husband, Tom Arrington, was the BMS chairman, and he contacted the athletic department and said, we have females in our club, and will you allow them on the field? And they said yes. And they lied. We got to the game, and we drew lots for who got to go in what quarters. There were 8 of us, and we each got 2 quarters. I drew the first quarter, and I don't know what other quarter. 4 of us went in, and before the game ever started, security came and removed me. And I was taken to the security office. Fortunately, they contacted the athletic department and our representative with the Reamer Club and worked it out to let me back on the field. But we have 1 more female there, and they switched everybody around and got her in right away because they didn't want to have trouble later getting her in. But so yeah, I got thrown out of the Notre Dame game. And, but I will say, the most ironic part of that to me is 20 years before, my mom worked for Western Union, and she worked at the Notre Dame office during sporting events, and my mother was probably one of the few women who ever was on the field during almost every game she worked because she relayed messages down to the field. So.
And like I said earlier, when we talked earlier, now the club is majority women in leadership positions, so it's amazing how much has changed, and for the better, and that's great. Yeah. So we have time for one more question, and it's going to be kind of a joint question about BMS3. So I know that I'm looking at both Roy and Mike because you were both on the different ends of when that was in and out of service. So Roy, tell me about your experience bringing BMS3 to life.
Well, at the time I was in the club, we were still running BMS2. And one of the members of the club, Dick Tombaugh, who ultimately became Director of Financial Aid here at Purdue, was chair of the committee to procure BMS3, and it was dedicated in the fall of '60, right after I graduated.
Wow.
So we did get to see it in the development stage and see it come to fruition.
So you actually got to experience BMS2, 3, 5, and 7, and 8 future. That's pretty amazing right there. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And to wrap up the panel, Mike, why don't you tell us about your experience at BMS3 at a specific parade, maybe?
So BMS3 actually lasted another 10 years after I graduated, but I felt like at the time it was kind of on its last legs at times. It was showing some rust along the bottom. I'm sure that was probably fixed in the years after I graduated, but we were in a parade in Fort Wayne, and we went through the entire parade with the flaps of the engine up. And I think people kind of thought we were like showing off this engine to them. It was really just to keep it from overheating because it was getting way up there on the dial, and we obviously didn't want to stall out in a parade with the BMS3, but it was awesome. I mean, it took us to a lot of different places, and back then we didn't do the Free Ride Fridays. We didn't do every single away game like they do now, which is just fantastic. Because the athletic department wasn't paying the club for this, and so we had to have the money for gas money or whatever to be able to go to these different places. But we went to wherever we could, and being on campus now, I love hearing the horn all the time. It seems like on campus, which is just awesome.
Which is very, very loud now.
Yeah.
So I know. So we're about to wrap up, but Roy, I think you wanted to say something else.
I have one thing I'd like to add. One of the traditions that the pledge class learns, of course, is I am an American because it's so much a part of Purdue. And I have many very close ties to that, of course. I think the proudest time I ever had the opportunity to recite it was in the Rose Bowl. And where else can you go with Purdue spirit and I am an American than the Rose Bowl? The most challenging was the first home football game following 9/11. I was up in the press box, of course, looking around the stadium, they had American flags all the way around on all the flagpoles in the stadium. The border of the field had been painted red, white, and blue flag stripes. The entire crowd had American flags. And when I got into the latter part of that, it frankly was the most challenging emotional time that I've ever experienced doing that. But the unique thing was that at the very end of that, for the first time ever, the entire crowd chimed in, "I am an American." And that is where that tradition started and has become a permanent part of all of our home football games since.
Well, that's a very touching. What a great way to end the panel, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Rebecca Toole, Roy Johnson, Sherry Arrington, Mike Hoffman. Thank you guys so much for coming. And I did want to give one more special shout out to Logan Marshall. These videos you guys are seeing, the interviews, the production, Logan is a genius. I know we can't give out Oscars here, but if we get out a Golden Pete statue, we would. So, Logan, thank you again for all your production on this, really. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everybody. I've tried to meet as many. Can you do something about this light? It's blinding me. I've tried to meet as many of you as I can, and I'm looking down at the crowd, trying to find a particular person, and I don't see him. The fellow from the class of 1950, is he still with us, or has he left? He left? So, think about that. Why would somebody from the class of 1950, a man in his 90s, come here tonight? Do you remember what President Mung Chang said when he was here? How many of you heard him use the word spirit? Okay, there you are. And that's what this club is. And I look out here at the audience and I see people like me who are in the downside of life, so to speak. And I see young people. I see Reamers married to each other, something that wouldn't have happened in our day. At least we wouldn't have talked about it. But spirit. What the Purdue Reamer Club is, it's the foundation of spirit, the spirit of Purdue, that doesn't end when we graduate. If anything, it grows because it brings us back. And I think that's something we all should be very, very proud of, that what this club does, it takes that inherent desire and it melds it, it grows it, it expands it, so that after we've gone on to wherever it is, we want to come back. We want to be a part of Purdue. We want to see Purdue grow because we have spirit for Purdue. My wife Susie and I, we both graduated in '62, so we're kind of old. And we remember when the President's Council kind of got started. We couldn't do this. We didn't have that many people at that time. And I see some people nodding their heads. But it grew, and it grew and grew to the point we can't do it in here anymore. And that's what we have here. We have We have the nucleus, we have the foundation, we have that thing that you make sourdough bread out of, whatever it's called, that leavening or something that keeps going, that keeps expanding, the spirit. We are the spirit of Purdue. And I think that's something we should be very, very proud of and always, always treasure. I do. I treasure it. And I thank you all for being here. And that's my job is to thank you for being here and to do something else. And we will do that. I'm off script. My script is worthless. So, Logan and Jimmy Rio. Jimmy Rio is a very shifty character, let me just tell you. They told me, Steve, we want you to just, wrap things up and say thank you. Okay. And so I put something together. And then I saw all the other people come up, these beautiful young ladies who were Reamers and others, and they said everything I could have said and better. So I'm not going to go to this script. Now, you in the back there, I will get to that key that we have to make it happen. So just bear with me. There are a few things I want to say, and then we're going to get on. What is Purdue? It's more than an educational institution. It's more than a research institution. There's something about Purdue that is different. We know that. Can't explain it all the time, but it's different. Now, how do we know it's different? 2 Purdue alums were the first and the last, the most recent so far, men to walk on the moon. Now, I got to, so I graduated in '62. I remember President Kennedy saying, by the end of the decade, we're going to put a man on the moon and bring him home. Wow. And we did that. And Purdue people were not only people on that rocket, they were people who designed those rockets. I don't know how many of you people have been out to Zucrow Labs. I worked there in my junior and senior years when Doc Zucrow ran it. Do you realize what that laboratory did? The kind of research that came out of that helped put those men on the moon? Here at Purdue. Do you know why Neil Armstrong came to Purdue? A kid from Ohio. Why did he come to Purdue? He came to Purdue because he read about Doc Zucrow, who wrote the definitive textbook on gas dynamics. And Neil wanted to be a part of that. We don't talk about those things nearly enough. They're not spoken about, but they're here. It's part of that fabric of the spirit of Purdue. And President Chang, he said that. Here's a man who's been here about 10 years, came from Princeton. He told us when he first came here, he didn't know anything about Purdue. Well, he learned. And he's a good man, and he's going to be a great president following Mitch. And he said that we are spirit. He said that about the Reamers, and that's what we are, and we need to be proud of that. I'm proud of it. So I put aside my prepared remarks because they had no basis to be said here. These young ladies, there are more women in the club now than men, is that correct? Is that what I heard? Does that mean there are more women on campus now than men? I mean, those of us from the day, we remember there were a heck of a lot more guys than there were women on this campus. In 1962, Purdue awarded something like 980 BS in engineering degrees, about, plus or minus a few, 980. How many women engineers did we have then? Anybody know? 3, not 2, 3. 3. How many women are enrolled in undergraduate engineering right now at Purdue? I think it's like 28%, something like that. I mean, it's great. We're growing. The thing that I learned about this club tonight that I did not know is how it has evolved with the times. We are not the same club membership-wise that we were when I was here, and thank God. But what hasn't changed is the spirit. And I think we need to understand that. back to the gentleman who was here from 1950, to Roy Johnson, to myself, to everybody down here, John, all of us. The Spirit is what brought us back. And the Spirit is what drives us forward, and it is the Spirit that will keep this university growing, and we will be a part of it as Reamers. Now, I'm not running for office, keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm not going to go on any longer. I've got to get down to the key words that are going to cause something to happen. Okay, this has been a wonderful day for all of us who have come home to Purdue for the Centennial celebration. There are more activities scheduled for tomorrow. We look forward to being with all of you who have chosen to participate. And of course, whether we are in attendance or not, we will all cheer on Purdue to beat Syracuse tomorrow. And now, don't kid yourselves. They got a lot of fans here. We've seen them on campus. There are Syracuse people here. Okay, here we go. Let's end this evening by singing that great song we all love.
Hey, wait a minute, buddy. Wait a minute. Hold your horses. You're forgetting something.
Well, where are you, and who are you, and what are you talking about?
Well, I'm glad I called in. The thing. The super secret that you were not supposed to tell anybody about. Do you remember?
Yeah, the really big secret. Well, did you have the thing? Can you share it on the screen? We can't even see you.
Well, hang on. Give me just a moment. Jeez, I can't believe this guy.
For 100 years, the Purdue Reamer Club has been the core of spreading the spirit of Purdue. What began as button sales quickly grew into something larger than what could have been expected, the Boilermaker Special. It was unlike any other mascot in the world in every aspect. It was mechanical, it could be driven, and fans could now be a part of their mascot. The goal of the Boilermaker Special has not changed since 1939, to spread the spirit, tradition, and character of the university both near and far. 7 iterations and 84 years later, it is time for another giant leap. We are proud to announce that the Boilermaker Special 9 is coming in the summer of 2025. At the core of the BMS 9 project is an intense focus on safety, robust build quality, and an elevated rider and fan experience. With the help of our legendary partners, Wabash National and Navistar, the Boilermaker Special 9 will be the ultimate mascot.
We're looking forward to being involved with the club on new design.
Very excited to see this and look at what we might be able to do.
The Boilermaker Special is not the Reamer Club's mascot, rather it is the mascot for all Boilermakers. For it's always fair weather.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Owen Jekyll. I'm a senior studying supply chain management and economics. I pledged in the spring of 2021, and I've enjoyed every semester I've been here at Purdue and in the Reamer Club. I'm pilot number 46 of the BMS 7, and I'm the current Boilermaker Special 9 chairperson. I'm so pleased to stand up here tonight and speak to everybody about the Boilermaker Special 9 project. The need to begin development on a new Boilermaker Special became evident to me in the spring and summer of 2022. Through breakdowns, overheating, and general wear and tear of the BMS 7 after over a decade of service, the research began exactly where it started with the BMS 5 and 7, Wabash National and Navistar International. I thoroughly considered other chassis and superstructure vendors. Still, it was evident to me and other club members that the Reamer Club's relationship with our long-term partners is one that we would like to continue to foster. Our project is just beginning. With the incredible help of recent club alumni, current club members, and our contacts within Wabash and Navistar, I've compiled so much valuable information about what we can expect for the next BMS. A focus on safety, reliability, repairability, a refreshed design, and enhanced rider and fan experience are the pillars of our project. This is the first formal announcement of the BMS 9 project outside of Monday night regular meetings, and I'm proud to be the one standing here officially announcing the Boilermaker Special 9 to so many Reamer alumni who know how important, impactful, and priceless the Boilermaker Special tradition is. It's obvious that I cannot complete this project alone. The Boilermaker Special 9 committee within the club cannot complete this project alone. Even the entirety of our 50-plus member club cannot complete this project alone. I encourage all Reamer alumni to visit our BMS9 webpage, which is on the PurdueReamerClub.org website. It's PurdueReamerClub.org/BMS-IX. You will find more information on the project as it becomes relevant, as well as a link to contact me, the BMS9 chairperson. I invite you to contact me through my listed email with questions, comments, suggestions, tips, and whatever information you may have to assist us in creating the next iteration of the world's greatest mascot. Thank you, and for it's always fair weather.
I had to get out of the way. I couldn't be here for that. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great? All right, it's time to wrap things up, folks. And how do we wrap things up in the Reamer Club? We sing. So what I want to know is, how many people here are either Purdue band members or PMO? Do we have some? Okay, so we're going to sing two songs. We're going to sing first Hail Purdue, and then we're going to sing the Purdue hymn. We're going to sing Hail Purdue in an up-tempo. We're going to sing the first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus. Then we're going to sing the Purdue hymn, which I think is one of the most beautiful university songs ever written, melody-wise and words-wise. It's wonderful. And if you remember, that was not our alma mater. It was made our alma mater when Doc Beering was here, and he took a look at things, and I see more heads agreeing with me, thank you, that we needed something like that. And the Purdue hymn was made our alma mater, and it's a beautiful song. So, are we going to project words? There we go. Okay. So, we're going to, first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus, okay? Yeah, everybody up, let's go. All right. To your call once more we rally, alma mater, hear our praise. Where all our messages come to joy, our voices raise. From the skies in swelling echoes from the cheers that tell the tale of victories and your heroes. Hail Purdue, we sing, all hail. Hail, hail to old Purdue, all hail to our old golden black. Hail, hail to old Purdue, our friendship may she never lack. Ever grateful, ever true, that we raise our songs on you. All the days we've spent with you, all hail, old Purdue. When in after years we're turning alma mater back to you. May our hearts with love be yearning for the scenes of old Purdue. Walk along your pathways winding, let us seek what lies before. Fondest hopes and names are finding while we sing of days of yore. Hail, hail to old Purdue, all hail to our old golden black. Hail, hail to old Purdue, our friendship may she never lack. Ever grateful, ever true, thus we raise our songs anew. Of the days we've spent with you, all hail our own Purdue. Hail Purdue. Okay, a little slower. Close by the Wabash in famed Hoosier land stands old Purdue, serene and grand, cherished in memory by all her sons and daughters. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the night, and let's go tomorrow and beat those Syracuse Orangemen. Wait a minute. Somebody's got something. Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
When I was in the club years and years ago, when somebody did something great, we'd always say, hip, hip, hooray. This was a great night, so let's go. Hip, hip, hooray! Hooray! Hip, 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 hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!